Hi, I'm AJ, and with so many of us working from home now, I figured it might be great to show off my work from home desk setup and show you a few of the products that have changed how I work at my desk day in and day out. If you like any of the products that I feature, I'm going to try and include links in the description below for as many of them as possible. And with that, let's get started. Alright, so the first object that I want to show you on my desk is my Keychron K10 mechanical keyboard. This particular one has Gateron red switches in it. They come that way, and it also has just enough styling to it that I don't feel like I'm overstating anything with this sitting on a desk. I'm not a huge fan of like the RGB and super like colorful, crazy backlights, although this does have those if I want them. I choose not to have my backlights on most of the time. Plenty of fun little rainbow effects if that is your thing though. You know, sometimes if I'm bringing this downstairs to play video games on my gaming PC, this definitely makes me feel 90% more gamer. So there's that. The other really nice thing about this keyboard is that it comes with keycaps for both Windows and Mac OS, and there's actually a switch, which is right here, that you can use to switch between the Windows and Mac OS layout of keys. That's a really nice touch. It is capable of connecting to up to 3 different Bluetooth devices, and it also can be used just plugged in via USB. And that's a USB Type-C port on the side there, which is really convenient. Next, let's talk about my Logitech MX Master 3, which I think there's a slightly newer version of this now called the 3S. I looked at what it is, and they seem like they're the exact same mouse. So if you see a Logitech MX Master 3 for sale, a little bit cheaper than the 3S, I say just go for this one. This mouse is seriously on every YouTuber's like favorite mouse because it's one of the most ergonomic, and it's also one of the most feature packed for the price. You got horizontal and vertical scrolling. You also get a scroll lock, so you can just let this roll freely, or you can have it click. You of course got the 2 buttons on the side here, but also this thumb pad functions as a button. On Mac OS and Windows, you can actually program these buttons to do all sorts of different things, which is really convenient. You can connect to up to 3 devices via Bluetooth or with one of Logitech's 2.4 gigahertz receivers that unify all those Logitech products. The charger is USB Type-C, which keeps everything on my desk consistent with the kind of power they need. So next we can briefly talk about this oaky wood stand that I have in the top left corner of my desk. You can clearly see I've got 2 extra devices on my desk at all time, and these nice foam pads on all 3 sides that your computer would make contact with are nicely cushioned and protected, and everything looks pretty tight usually because you can choose the amount of foam in them. The reason this MacBook Air is so loose is because normally my iPad, which is a little bit thicker with the case on it, slides in here and fits like a glove. But it's still really convenient to have somewhere if I want to charge my MacBook. I can just plug it in right here where my iPad was plugged in before, and it stays juiced. And you can see right in front of my oaky wood stand, I do have a little bit of personality on my otherwise pretty empty desk. These are just a few vehicles that I've received from either ordering parts for my Mazda Miata or just friends and family who have thought of me, got me a few different cars. So I've got this really old 90s RX-7. We've got a 4th generation Miata. Actually, we have 2 4th generation Miatas, the yellow one and the red one. We also have a 2018 Focus RS, which was one of the only Focus RSs to make it to the United States. an old Mazda pickup truck, and a first generation Miata, an NA Miata, which is the generation of Miata I own. The newest and biggest addition to my desk is this Dell UltraSharp 34 USB-C hub monitor, and I literally just got this last week. I've been trying it out, and it seems pretty darn great. Even if you're plugging in an Apple product like an iPad or a MacBook, it functions just as it would on any other computer. I know in the past, Dell has had a pretty iffy reputation with their docking stations, but I'm pretty thrilled with the features that are baked into this monitor, especially for Windows users. It just has a ton of extra software that helps you organize your windows a little bit better, and even establish like a picture-by-picture setup if you have two computers plugged into the hub monitor at the same time. At some point, I am going to purchase a actual monitor arm, so I don't have this giant stand base holding the monitor up, but until then, cable management seems like it's actually quite reasonable. Speaking of cable management, while I'm back here, I might as well show you that I do have this little basket that helps hold all my wires up and not let them dangle super far down, and that just keeps the look from when you walk up to the desk just a little bit tidier. Now the price comes in definitely a little higher than you would expect for the average 34-inch curved ultra-wide monitor, but the big reason for that is that this isn't just a monitor. No, it has multiple HDMI ports, so you can plug in two different game consoles if you really wanted into the back of this. There's also a display port and a USB-C port, which is what I use to plug in both my MacBook Air that I use for work and my iPad, which I use for my personal life. Also really convenient is that there are a couple of USB ports. This is a Type A, this is a Type C, and they just kind of stick out of the bottom of the monitor, easily accessible from here. You might have to come down underneath and look for it, and it might be a little bit of a scavenger hunt getting your USB drive plugged in, but nowadays everything's in the cloud anyway, so why bother even looking for a USB port anymore? Now, as for the item that I can't really find a good listing for on Amazon because this is way too old and I don't think you can even get them anymore, iHome used to make these really nice all-in-one sensors. This is a motion and light sensor. It's actually a smart sensor as well, so it connects to my iHome app on my iPhone, and it'll give me the local temperature and humidity as well. Pretty dang cool, especially when you're automating other things in your home with an iHome smart plug. But because this sensor is no longer sold, and I'm gonna guess probably not even supported by the app, I just use this as a desk ornament to give me the ambient temperature in the room. But it's getting pretty outdated, and I'm hoping to replace it at some point with something that looks a little bit more from this era and has a USB Type-C plug. For the last decade or so, I have wanted one of the legitimate versions of this clock, and my wife for Christmas surprised me and actually got me this clock for Christmas this past year. I love this thing. It's why it's front and center. I just love typographic time telling like this. It's very clever, and I think the original inventor of this clock deserves every dime they're making off of the multi-$1,000 clocks. Now, to be clear, this is not an actual typographic clock. This is just a super cheap knockoff made by Sharper Image. It's perfect for what I was hoping for, even though I would definitely prefer a different typeface. Sharper Image does a pretty darn good job with their knockoff that you get 90% of the way there for 2% of the price. Always sitting next to either my laptop or my iPad or whatever is plugged into this monitor is going to be at least one coaster, if not two, for all of the drinks I am usually consuming sitting at my desk, whether it's tea, a LaCroix, or just a glass of water. I always have at least two, if not three, sitting at my desk. So those are just to protect the mouse pad, which is an MKBHD mouse pad. I'm sure most of you know who that is. My wife got me this for Christmas as well, and what can I say? She knows my taste. This is definitely a really nice mouse pad. It kind of fits a lot of the gray and black themes that I have going throughout the rest of the desk. Next, I really want to show you the drawer system that I got for pretty cheap on Amazon. This has two sides, one that's narrower and actually will slide down like this, so you can gain pretty easy access to writing utensils. That's literally all it's for. That slides in just like that, so you have a very slim profile as well. On the other side, this is the larger drawer, and I use this to hold a lot of my random electronics, cleaning cloth, contact lens drops, and some spare cables, spare set of AirPods, way too many sticks of lip balm, and way too many USB drives, among other random junk. And that way it doesn't mean I have to leave a bunch of junk sitting all over my desk, so things stay nice and clean. Finally, keeping this entire desk illuminated is this little lamp in the corner, and I really have no idea what the brand is on this particular one. It doesn't look like any of the ones currently for sale on Amazon, but it genuinely seems to have all of the exact same features as the ones that have this general tri-fold shape currently if you check Amazon. So I did add a link to one of them in the comments below. But the main reason that I absolutely love this lamp, besides the fact that it's pretty convenient to have it so high up above my desk to illuminate more space, it also has some really cool color temperature and brightness buttons that I just leave sitting on top of my desk, and it can change from a very nice late night yellow to a bright daylight white. And so even when the sun is out, sometimes I'll have the lamp on because it just works so well at illuminating this desk. And finally, because this is a sit-stand desk, I also have this really nice multi-plug adapter, and it includes a couple USB Type-A ports as well as a USB Type-C port, which I currently use to charge my Apple Watch at my desk. And it really only charges my watch when I'm working and I need to top it off a little bit. You can see I've also got everything that plugs in on top of the desk plugged in here. That's really convenient when I raise and lower the desk. I imagine there's still quite a few of you looking at this and going, man, this is still kind of a rat's nest. And to a degree it is, but that's kind of intentional, because if I were to tie all of these cables together to make it look really clean, I wouldn't be able to take a single device or its charger off my desk without undoing everything, and it's just a ton of extra effort, and no one really looks under here like this anyway. That leaves us with one thing left for me to talk about, and that's the desk itself. This is a FlexiSpot desk, specifically the E1, which is their cheapest model. It's got a single motor to raise and lower it, supports everything on this desk just fine, and it's frankly been great for me for the almost 2 years that I've owned it now. If you are curious about any of the features on their website, I can't tell you too terribly much. I do know that this is the bamboo surface, and if you already have a surface that you want to use for your desk, you can get the frame with the motor and the buttons to raise and lower it for less than $200, which is a pretty good deal. If you want to know anything else about the items featured on my desk, feel free to leave a comment below. Otherwise, that's all I've got for today. Until next time, bye.